start the recording. Oh, goodness.
This
What was
lady-
that? What was that about the Steves? Lance is
He's
so
jealous.
Hey, it's fine. It's fine. You like the muscular guys. It's fine.
Every time I watch them, though, I'm always like, they're so muscular, but like they don't have any shirtless pictures. So it makes me question.
So one of the Steves has been doing, which I thought was very interesting, has been doing a segment on Amazon masks. So
Yes,
like, I
that's
know
your Steve. My Steve is the other one, the more Jersey looking one.
yes, the one that I prefer.
That makes sense.
It's a gorilla.
He's got a very like a specific tan to him. So I feel like either A, they're spray tanning, or B, they're sitting in the tanning bed. So that concerns me because as a person who was the manager of a tanning bed when I was in college, you should not be doing that. It's not good for you,
Yeah, Steve.
Yes.
I mean, nothing more screams Jersey than a tan bed.
But they live in Florida.
Both of them?
No, only one of them does.
Yeah.
Okay,
Keep
so I'm
up,
not gonna
Abe.
lie. The one that Mikey likes has a dated haircut. I'm just
The
gonna
faux hawk?
say, yeah.
No, it's not a faux hawk. It's like
It's
shaved, and then it's like a little, but it's so short altogether. It doesn't even matter.
It's a faux hawk. Like, he doesn't need it. I think he would be much more attractive had he got rid of this little tent on his head. So
I don't know. I'm not paying attention to the top of his head.
I'm pretty sure he is not that one, at least anyways. Oh!
The other one looks like a Italian Nick Lachey.
yes, he does. He does. I think he's adorable. Anyways, but I think it's very effective to be like buying those masks and checking them out because like people wouldn't know if the costumes are good.
I thought we were not talking about Spirit anymore because of Mikey's dilemma.
No, we're not talking
No,
about
she's
Spirit.
saying that Spirit's not pulling through for her. So
They never have. Because I bought that Barbie, the cowgirl outfit, the Western Barbie outfit from Spirit. So I
one
bought
with
it
the
in
chaps?
yeah, well, I had to buy it in a large because I have big hips. So I never think their mediums will fit.
you want to feel really big? Buy clothes from Asia. I'm like a 3XL.
No, seriously, I almost never really fit. No, like, all right, think fat. Think fat for Asian people.
They have like a chart on some of the stuff they sell from Amazon. Some of the stores are from like China. And they're like, pay attention to the conversion chart because sizes are different. And it's like, if you wear an American medium, you wear like a 4XL in China. It's like, geez.
Well, yeah. Well, according to Doug, everybody's just sweating all day. So maybe that's the reason.
They're always losing weight.
I know. But my thing is, okay. And so I bought that costume and I'm pissed. I'm pissed, one, because I really wanted to be Western Barbie. And my dreams could never come true because the Spirit that I live near, obviously, when I went back to exchange it, because they had no dressing room. So when I went back to exchange it, they had no mediums left. So I should have just bought the fucking medium because the large I was swimming in. But I'm always worried about like the pants that Spirit sells because the stuff is so thin. It's like, I don't need camel toe.
Yeah, who does?
Is that a thing?
It is a thing. Sometimes I have camel toe at the gym. I have to adjust my leggings.
Yeah, she has to pop it out.
I'm like, oh shit. Like everybody
she's
can
like,
see
oh,
everything.
she's hungry. My kitty's hungry.
Wow.
But speaking of, I don't remember what else. No.
Anyways,
go on, Mikey.
I was gonna say I've never bought an actual like packaged costume. I did one time. I bought like the German, is it German? Like the Lederhosen guy with like the little hat and like the.
Do you have this? And is there pictures?
Lance.
Oh my goodness. Lance is so excited about it.
I am excited. I want to see Mikey in some sweet bars right now.
Well,
What?
I wish I would have kept it because the shirt
so
was
did
like
I.
really, really thin. Like, my mom listens to this show, I just found out.
True.
And so I was like, I could have, now that I'm in like amazing shape, watch out, Steve's. I could have just
Good.
worn the lederhosen without the undershirt, and there you go.
Ooh.
I'm slutty
Grantless.
sausage, a wurst, whatever it's called, a bratwurst.
You're a
You are the
little,
bratwurst.
you're my little Wiener Schnitzel.
Yes.
Oh,
Ugh.
hello.
But I went to visit my mom for lunch today, and it was just a quick little trip. And she's talking about all, you visit your mom and blah, 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 blah. Everything she has to tell you in the past week, she's unloading on you. And I'm like, uh-huh. And she's like, and by the way, I talked to your sister yesterday, and I said, have you listened to Mikey's podcast? And she's like, no. She's like, now I know why he doesn't tell us about it. So they turned on an episode, and they were like in the car, just in like shock and awe. So I was like, okay, next subject. I didn't even ask which episode they listened to because I was like, well, it's probably me hitting on Lance or me calling Ada cunt. Like, I don't know which. If any episode, that's probably happening.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
Yeah. So your mom's not the only one, but I don't think she's gonna listen again.
Time
Well-
to visit Texas to make your family feel even better about it.
Do it. Like, oh,
Yeah.
my forbidden lover is here.
Hello.
He came from Rome.
I hope you're listening, folks.
He's gonna
No.
come steal my San Jacinto, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
Remember this alum hole.
Ooh.
Okay. This is slashers.
slashers.
They're all gonna laugh at you. That's what you reminded me of. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry.
This is Slashers, your new favorite podcast about your new and old favorite horror media. My name is Aid, and with me, as always, are my esteemed colleagues, co-hosts, and cohorts, my boo-boo Mikey,
So, dog.
and our lovely Lancelots.
Hello there, Goons.
And
Threw her off.
yeah, I was gonna say, and
Our
y'all-
hostess that needs no introduction.
oh yeah, I know. I'm sorry,
Except
y'all,
when she does.
Yeah.
I need a special introduction. I'm so sorry. I have gotten no sleep. Stella actually kept me up literally all night crying at the door.
Well, she's watching
So-
you watch all these movies about dogs dying. So she's like, what is
That's
mama
why-
gonna do to me?
That's exactly what I told Dan. I said she was having nightmares of Frankenweenie because we
Mhm.
were watching it together. And now she's upset because she was literally up all night crying.
Aw.
She sat at her little stairs and just cried. She was like, oh. Like literally, it was all night.
She had no concept of life and death until you watch those movies.
Pretty much.
Exactly.
Even
Well,
though, what's his name in Corpse Bride Chips or whatever they named him?
Scraps.
Scraps. There you go. Forgot what his name
I
was.
wish it was Chips.
Well, no, because nobody cries over scraps. I mean, okay. And so we'll get into that. But Frankenweenie traumatized the fuck out of me. So I think it was a great film. But and so funny because my kids today, like, it was senior skip day. So literally in every period today, I had like 2 or 3 kids. And 2 of the girls in my 4th period were yelling, Frankenweenie, let's watch Frankenweenie. So I was like, just pick a movie
No.
out, my friend. And I said, absolutely not. I said, because I watched that last night and I was crying and we are not watching that again. They were all laughing at me. They're, why are we crying? I go, why was I
My
crying? I'm
goodness,
like,
do your students have no
my-
souls?
no, absolutely not. Oh,
Have you
and
ever met children? Come on now. Look at your daughter.
I
She's
know.
probably like,
Children of the
"No
Florida
way."
corn over there not feeling anything.
Seriously, I know. Well, some of them know about us. I have to do a quick shout out to East Media. So if he listens to the beginning of this nonsense, he can
Who's that?
quiet down and just stop fucking talking during my 4th period. Thank you very much. Anyways,
Oh.
I know all the kids are like, whatever.
Ugh,
I
Some
had-
child.
It's like,
He's-
whatever, let that nasty one talk.
He's not. No, he's not a child. I mean, that's the thing. They're all turning 18. If they acted like adults, it would be one thing. They still don't, which I think is adorable. But you remember being 18, and Lance, you still act like a child. So I don't think you ever grew up, right? So
I
there
was
we
in
go.
California when I was 18. I spent most of my back. I don't remember most of it, except for that one time I filmed a porn. I wasn't in it, but we know the story. Lance doesn't because he's the new edition. But yes, Lance, I work special effects for a porn. Anyways,
Is that how that happens?
Well, before we get started on the show, I'm we can talk about Mikey's porn later. But before we get started on the show, I just want to remind everyone that we are in the midst of our 13 days of Halloween. So by the time you hear this episode, I think you will have heard day 1 from Jake, day 2 from me. Hocus Pocus.
You can skip that one.
Yes, please do. And you ho. Who's day 3? Day 3 is Lance.
I'm day 3.
Day 3 is Lance.
His favorite erotic horror movie.
We had to introduce Lance to You Cut, and I had to yell at him a few times to learn how to use it, which is fine.
U-Cut.
I didn't yell at him. I used my teacher voice. This is how you do this.
It sounds sympathetic, but it's really just condescending.
How dare you? Well,
I've taught her well.
That.
We'll go ahead and teach you how to edit the videos then, and I'll use the same voice. So,
no,
my poor Lance. No, not you. I'm talking to Adrian.
Oh.
Well, okay, but so YouCut, Doug told me how to use YouCut because it's a lot easier to use on your phone than TikTok.
But Doug's not cut.
Is Doug not cut?
I'm just kidding.
Is that why everyone got upset? Because remember that one time I was saying that any guy who doesn't have a circumcised penis can just go away from me? And...
no, I'm pretty sure everybody on the podcast is circumcised. Neither here nor there. The myth of foreskin has been debunked. Everybody can hang like an anteater all they want in peace.
Yeah, but you know what? Of all the dicks I've seen, I've probably only seen 2 that weren't. I'm like,
Oh, I live in Texas. There's tons of Mexicans here. I've seen a lot of anteaters.
Ah.
Just kidding. If my mom listens to this episode.
Your mom's like, what the hell?
Yeah.
It's like one of those things like you try to get used to, but can you ever?
There's like way more cleaning to that though, right? It's like they gotta actually get under the skin and a whole bunch of other.
I don't know. You just slide that down. I'm like, why am I sliding things down? Why is there a curtain
There's different
why
categories.
Is there cellophane?
I mean, there's the peekaboo situation there.
As long as there's no cheese, you're fine. But there's some that's like, there's some where it's like when you're excited, you can't tell because the skin's stretched. But there's some where it's like, regardless if it's excited or not, it looks like it has got a trash bag over it.
Oh, that's so gross. Bless their hearts. I'm so sorry. If y'all are hearing this and that's you, you know what? We're not judging. We're just discussing. This is an open podcast. Anyways,
I'm not judging.
No. I mean,
Aid literally said she wouldn't want you near her, though.
Yeah, she literally said, "Take your cottage cheese stick out of here."
I'm sorry.
I, on the other hand, am like, hey, equal opportunity. I'm all about equal rights. I stand for women's rights and wrongs. So.
And with that, so here is this our 3rd episode?
This is our 3rd week in the Burton Tim fan.
Johnny Cash, whatever.
I like Bay Hill.
Our Bay Hill special of Slashers podcast. So today we are doing the animated features of Tim Burton, the ones that he actually directed. So the reason we're not discussing A Nightmare Before Christmas, one, none of us can actually agree the fact that it's a fucking Halloween movie because it is, but also. Lance, I will cut you right now. It is not,
and I can't even be a tiebreaker because my opinion is it's not even a good movie. Anyways, go ahead.
Oh wow! I think Mikey's is worse than both of us.
Yes.
That.
So we're not discussing A Nightmare Before Christmas because it's very sensitive to me, and Jake and I will fight to the death. It'll be like celebrity death match, except that I will win because it's wrong.
What side does Jake stand on? I couldn't hear that from here. Is it? He thinks it's a Christmas movie with Halloween characters.
Jake is also vegan and he doesn't drink, so we are not discussing.
Basically, he's just a virgin who can't drive. What did Austin say about it? I forgot.
Anyways, it doesn't matter. So we're not discussing that, but we're also not discussing Tim Burton's A Nightmare Before Christmas because he only produced it. He did not direct it. So if we're going to talk. if we're going to talk about animated films, we thought that we would just dredge through the two that are very similar. So if you look behind me, those of you watching on YouTube, we're talking about Frankenweenie today and Corpse Bride.
Was that why we
So,
were talking about cut dicks earlier? Frankenweenie?
oh, you know what? That works out so well. What a good segue, Mikey. Thank you. Yes,
You're
that's
welcome.
exactly why we're doing that. And so
Let's pull that skin back and get right to cutting. Frankenweenie.
Straight to the
Frankenweenie.
bone. Woo.
I thought we
Ew,
would
there's no
discuss.
bones in there.
So, well,
Lance,
Lance
there's
and
a
his-
bone in a wiener?
Mm.
is there a bone in your penis?
No, there's no bones. It's all tissue. Bones can't get soft out of nowhere.
How does that
Unless you're
even
Mr.
work?
Glass.
Like, I always think about that. Like, how do you live with that? Just moving around all the time. That must
You
suck.
don't even feel it.
Mm,
Literally, it's an enlarged
You
clit.
don't feel it.
Not when you're not doing anything to it.
So
Now,
it
if you
just
happen to walk
stays
past a
around.
table and you skid it against the table, then you feel it.
yeah.
But
And yet you weirdly can break your penis.
yeah, so no reverse cowgirls.
How do you
Mm.
break a penis? Is that how you do it?
It's by having too much, like, sex too hard, or like
Yeah. Or you
If
go for
she
the hole
fu-
and you miss.
if she or he falls, yeah, you can literally bend it. Like,
Yeah. Snap.
Oh my God, that's horrible.
Mm.
yeah.
It must be so terrible to live with such an appendage that, like, you know, just
Whatever.
sits there.
It's just yours just never fell out, so it doesn't matter.
that shrinks when you get into the
If
pool,
anything,
you
ours is a
know.
more evolved version of yours. So just keep
I'm happy. I'm sitting here very comfortably and I never have to
Your
adjust
vagina
my
is still the
pants.
monkey and we're the human beings.
yeah. You and your monkey vagina. Frankenpuss.
Aiden's like, I hate you both. That's all you can see in her face right now.
I mean, worth it. All right.
I rushed up my green screen for this abuse. Anyways, so we're gonna
It's just
start
gonna
off.
start fading in like half an hour.
I know it's true. The sun's going down, so we
That's-
gotta hurry. So anyway, we're gonna start off with Frankenweenie because I think that when we discuss both films, it's really easy to see that Victor Frankenstein and
Mm.
his dog Sparky are very similar to Victor
Jack Skellington
Van...
and Zero. Oh.
No, shut up, Mikey. To Victor Van Dort and Scraps. We are not talking about
Chips.
a nightmare.
AKA Chips.
Not chips, it's Scraps.
I'm gonna only think of this dog as Chips now because of Mikey.
Where the fuck is my wine? I'm
Well,
done.
he came in a bag or something. And he was in pieces, and then he got put together.
Well, no, because Emily gifted Victor a gift and she gave him his dog back.
Yeah,
Which
he's a
is
dead
so
dog.
like,
Yeah.
but that was very thoughtful.
It was.
That was a very thoughtful gift.
Mm-hmm.
So you shut up,
Mm.
Mikey. Anyways, we're starting off with the fucking Frankenweenie
Yeah.
because
Speaking of
I-
dead dogs, let's go to the first one.
I'll go to the first one, which is, and this, Mikey and I are the same. We didn't watch this movie for how many years? Came out in what, 2012? Because we know the fucking dog dies. Like, I'm not watching this movie. Like, I love Tim Burton. I love his animated things. I love everything. I love Catherine O'Hara. I love everybody. Martin Short is in this movie. Martin Landau is in this movie. Everybody's in this fucking movie. But let me tell you one thing. I do not want to see a dog die when I know it's going to die. With the exception of Halloween, because it was like, well, Lester is being an asshole anyways, and we don't really see him die. So anyway,
Mhm.
we just see him hanging around, but we don't know.
He just got a big bear hug.
Yeah, exactly. We're just hugging the doggy. Who cares? So, but no, fucking Sparky gets hit by a goddamn car, and I'm just like crying my eyes out. So, if you have not seen Frankenweenie, it is a Disney film from 2012. It's based off the live action version 1984 that Tim Burton made, and apparently, according to Lance, there were a lot of like important people in that live action film.
Shelley
Oh, yeah.
Duvall.
I did not watch it.
Did you guys see that at all? Anybody else?
Oh no.
No,
The
no.
cartoon was enough. I can't. It's weird. Like if it's a horror movie, like dogs die in horror movies all the time. It doesn't really bug me.
Mm.
But if it's a kids movie, I don't like it. Because like Marley and Me, as soon as I saw that trailer, I was like, the dog's dead. I'm not watching that shit.
Yeah.
I knew right in the beginning the dog was gonna die, and sure enough, because I know that the dog dying is gonna have sentimental. In horror movies, it's like, oh, the dog is barking, he needs to kill people, so he just and then the dog. I'm like, okay, whatever, it's fine. I can't do it. It really bummed me out yesterday because even though we know he comes back to life, because essentially the dog is Frankenstein, this modern children's adaptation.
Yeah.
I just, the dog that I've had the closest to me, which I got him when I was like 21, when I first moved out of my house. And then we moved everywhere together. He was around when Olivia was born. He was around when I met Adam. He was around when I had like my first office job. Like he was around when my stepdad passed away and my grandparents passed away. He died last year, and it's still not something that I'm completely healed from. And so I was like, oh, fuck, I'm gonna watch this movie. And I knew he was coming back to life, but it's not a topic that I'm ready to review again.
No, that's really hard. I mean, when you lose a pet, I think I had to put a cat down. My baby that I grew up with as a child, and I had to put him down as an adult because he was not doing well, and it was the worst day of my life. And I cried on him when they put him to sleep, and then he took a last breath after he died, and then of course that freaked me out. So it was just one of those things where it's like, I think I'm fortunate enough to not have been a child and lost a pet, because I can't really. I mean, fish died.
Oh yeah, fuck
yeah.
Don't you think it's easier when you're a child? Because I mean, like not to say that it doesn't hurt initially, but like the turnaround time seems very much quicker comparatively to somebody who's like I mean, like did Olivia because obviously she was around for your pet. Did she have more of a turnaround time in the sense that it was like, okay, I get it?
She wasn't really that upset, but also he wasn't her dog. Like I think it's different if this is your pet.
Right.
Like when I was growing up, my family dog was Magic, and I played with him here and there. He slept in my bed sometimes, but we didn't have that like connection. And he ran away. He didn't die. He just ran away because we moved, and I think he freaked out and we couldn't find him for the longest time. I wasn't really that upset about it. It's the dogs that I feel you're old enough to develop. You know how sometimes you have a really shit day and you go home and they're just there and they sit next to you and they can tell. Like when you have that relationship with the dog, I think that's whenever it hits you when they leave. And there's something about, and it happens in the beginning and at the very end when he's there breaking his body out. There's just something very heartbreaking about a dog's body, whether it's on the street because it got ran over. Because that's how I found. One of my dogs I put to sleep, and she was huge, and she actually passed away on my foot, and I was like, oh my foot's asleep. And then my dog Baloo, that from a year ago, I walked out of my room and he was on the floor, but passed away. But he was kind of already like really old. And there's just something really heartbreaking about a lifeless body like that. And so when you see Sparky after he gets run over, you just see like his back, and then when he's in the windmill and they're bringing him out, and I'm like, stop showing his little lifeless body. That's like the worst thing.
That was the worst thing about it, because when they were carrying him at that point and then they were carrying him out at the end, I just started crying because I didn't think he was going to come back. I don't know what it was. I think it was something Yahira said, because Yahira said yeah,
Because I was like, that sounds like a terrible lesson.
That's such a Peruvian thing to be. She's like, oh, kids need to know that things die. I go, thank you, Yahira. I know. We all know things die.
She was literally the adult in the room. And you guys both were like this, goes, fuck your adultness.
And then Mikey's like, I don't accept that ending.
Yeah, she was, it's a beautiful movie, and it really teaches kids that sometimes you have to let things go. And I was like, that sounds terrible. I'm not watching the end.
And so I thought he wasn't going to come back, but
they bring him
spoiler alert. Oh, yeah.
A light? It didn't see the light this time.
Well, no, because the lamp just turned. Spoiler alert. He does come back, so thank God he does.
Yes, so he comes back.
We have, and the thing is that this is, and Yahira was right. This is a very beautifully shot film. We have a huge like budget for this. 39 million makes 81.5 million. It came out October 5th, 2012. For the family friendly films with the competition, it was in competition that year with Paranorman. Because I remember that year I was living with Claire. I'll never forget this. Claire and I were roommates.
What? You and Claire?
Yes, Claire and I were roommates, and we were like, "Oh, let's go see Paranorman. Let's go see Frankenweenie." We both couldn't wait, and then we never went and saw them. So there was that. We actually did watch Paranorman when it came out. We rented it.
I took my niece.
Yeah, because she and I love Paranormans, and we love Monster House. So, like, Claire will not watch horror movies with me, but she loves the animated ones. So there's that. But if you look at the family-friendly films that it went up against, Hotel Transylvania, which I never watched. You know, the first time I watched it, I played it for my kids one year during FSA when they were all testing. So I just put it on because I have 5 kids in the room. And I was like, oh my God, the baby's falling off the thing. Like, I didn't know that was that. Like, it was ridiculous. The Lorax, Diary of a Wimpy Kid. And then also it was competing with like other kids movies like The Amazing Spider-Man, Dark Knight Rises, Wreck-It Ralph. Like, I don't watch these fucking Disney movies anymore.
All those movies did really good though.
Yeah,
I know. I'm surprised those are that old.
I know.
Yeah, I was surprised that Hotel Transylvania was not that old. I was like,
Hotel California. Yeah, because Olivia watches all those right now. So to me, those are still current movies.
Well, because I think they stand the test of time because if the parents can enjoy them, then the kids will continue to watch them, right? So that makes sense. But we had Madagascar 3, Ice Age, Continental Drift. I've never seen any of these fucking movies. I couldn't even tell you. I don't have children. Oh, well,
I saw them in the theaters when I was young without children.
I was like, yeah, children.
That makes sense. I'm talking to 2 children, so I'm not surprised. But yeah, so it was produced by Tim Burton and Alice Abadi. I don't know how to say this person's name, but that was the same people for Corpse Bride. And the same screenplay writer, John August, did Frankenweenie as well as Corpse Bride. So these are all like themes of Mr. Tim Burton, like the same people. So if you like all of these movies, this is why. Frankenweenie is 87 minutes. I think that the cast is amazing. We've got Catherine O'Hara, who plays 3 parts. She plays Victor's mother, Susan Frankenstein, which you can tell because it sounds like her. But then she also plays the little batshit crazy girl with the crazy cat, Mr. Whiskers.
I love her, Mr. Whiskers.
Best character in the whole fucking movie.
Which, by the way, this movie is like fuck cats. All the animals like are okay except they kill the cat.
The cat blew the fuck up. What is that?
And the cat was cute. The cat was cute. He was like a prophet. So poor little what's her face, the exorcist girl is like without an animal now.
Oh, fuck her. That girl
Everyone she was perfectly fine. She was just kind of weird. That was me.
How was it that poor Victor had no friends, but this bitch is in the classroom talking about omens and what was that whole about, like all these things, the whole diatribe in the classroom, like what is going on?
That whole classroom was like, you walk in there, that whole classroom, I'm like, all these kids don't have friends.
All the kids are fucking weird. And Victor is the most normal one, so maybe that's why he's the outcast.
Well, yeah, that and his neighbor, like the one girl who's played by
Winona Ryder. She looked and sounded like Winona Ryder. Like, we got little Lydia.
You mean Lydia?
Yeah,
exactly.
And then and her dog is Persephone, which just so happens very cutely gets shocked by Sparky's bull and then becomes the bride of Sparky.
She was I love poodles.
I know, so cute.
They're so frou-frou, but I love them. I like the big ones. Fuck the little ones.
You would, yeah, because you can't do their hair. Finally, the last character that Catherine O'Hara plays in the show or the movie is the little butchy kind of gym teacher. Yeah, that's her.
The butchy gym teacher
with the huge rack.
The huge rack.
Seriously.
Who's screaming at the kids the entire time.
She wasn't really butchy because I was like, I don't know. This gym teacher is actually kind of hot, but she's like. Heard something about her voice. She's a gym teacher. All gym teachers are angry lesbians.
Oh, well, as the teacher, I just want to preface this that that's not true anymore. But anyways,
Oh, stopped hiring lesbians. I wonder what they're doing for work now.
Shocking, the state of Florida.
Lesbians are all over the place. They're everywhere. Anyways, so we have so Martin Short plays Edward Frankenstein, which is Victor's father. He's also the Burgermeister, that stupid little mayor who looks exactly like Victor Van Dort's father-in-law from Corpse Bride, but also the Burgermeister, who is both characters are based off the Burgermeister Meisterburger from Santa Claus is Coming to Town, which is one of my favorite little cartoons growing up. I have it on DVD. I watch it every year. It's my favorite thing. I love Kris Kringle. Oh my God. And the little penguins, there's like 1 foot in front of the
On track, please, Aid. I don't need another
Anyways,
mess like
sorry.
last week.
Okay. And anyways, so I know, don't give me a song to sing because I'm horrible.
No one
And
gave
then-
you nothing.
And then I gave it to myself. Okay. So then we have Nassor, which is Victor's classmate, who conveniently enough looks like the monster from Frankenstein. But he also looks like Lurch from the Addams Family. But
I was getting
anyways.
Lurch.
But he's purposefully
it's
made to
Karloff.
look like Boris Karloff, and that's why
Yeah.
they wrap him up in the mummy shit at the end to be a like a cute little
'Cause he played both.
homage. Yes, Lance, he played both. Thank you for sharing. Anyway, so then we have Martin Landau, which you guys would like, or Lance, I guess, would like, because he actually won an Oscar for Ed Wood, I guess, playing Vincent Price. I don't know, whatever, doesn't matter.
I mean, you seen the science teacher you're talking about?
Yeah, Mr. Rizgrisky.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
he's definitely screams Vincent Price.
But he looked
Unfortunately,
like
he was
Vincent
gone.
Price in the movie, yeah. So,
Yeah.
and that was to also pay homage to Edward Scissorhands, because Vincent Price made Edward Scissorhands, who, obviously is like an homage to Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, which I have taught for many years. I've read Frankenstein so many fucking times. It's absolutely insane. It's a very short book. So for those of you who still not read that book, I just want to give a PSA. Read that fucking book. It doesn't take you very long, and it's not a hard read. I'm so sorry a woman wrote it. It must be so hard for you. Anyways,
I didn't think we were gonna get one of those today, but guess we did.
Shush. Winona Ryder as also Van Helsing, which is also an homage to the vampire hunter of Dracula, Van Helsing, and also played by Winona Ryder. So then we have Conchata Ferrell as Bob's mom, which you can kind of tell. So if you know who that woman is, she's actually the angry aunt who's drinking all the vodka and Krampus. She plays a lot of roles. But if you're a horror fanatic, that's who that woman is. So we've got a lot of fun people in this movie. Christopher Lee actually makes an appearance via the inclusion of a live action clip of Dracula, from 1958. So I thought that was fun. Anyways, so recapitation: when a boy's beloved dog passes away suddenly, he attempts to bring the animal back to life through a powerful science experiment. So this is basically a child's version of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, which I think is a great adaptation, honestly, because he does have loss. Victor is very one-track minded. But if you read Frankenstein, like if you've ever read Frankenstein, he never brings the monster to life with lightning or anything. Mary Shelley actually never tells you how the monster comes to life. He just
notice
wakes
the
up.
blowjob.
Probably. But he just wakes up, and that vicious eye, like I've read this so many times to the kids, and they're always
Well,
like,
that's
"You
where the
love
term
this story."
sucking the life out of you comes from. Is when he reverse blowjobs.
Knew he was going there.
Anyways. So, and you always have to, honestly, with every Frankenstein adaptation, I always feel sympathy for the monster, because I always feel like it's the creator who's the one who is the actual monster. Now, in this film, it's a child's film. So Victor is not a monster. And that's why I was crying so hard, because his heartbreak and how cute fucking Sparky is. How cute is that damn dog? Like, oh my God. And I'm watching this movie getting oh, he's so cute. He's doing this. And then this little impending sense of dread befell upon me. And I was like, oh my God, he's going to die. And they're gonna
Again.
show it.
Once or twice.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So and the little cat shit, Omen.
V.
How is she walking around with cat shit in her hand, showing everybody this? And nobody cares.
She's a
Oh, yeah.
soothsayer. She has an important job.
Yeah, she sure does. And she blew
She
her
doesn't
poor
care how
cat
it
head.
comes as long as it comes.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, it
Anyways.
was very strange the way they handled her character, because it seems like she may have supposed to be the villain, but she just was a weird girl with her weird cat.
Yeah, how did she end
Yeah.
up with the other boys, like out of nowhere? Like, you know what I mean? Like, even though she was like hanging out, it was like the other kids want to be like part of the science project part of it, and then all of a sudden she just appears with them. I'm like, wait, why is she with the quote unquote villains of the movie with like the Igor type kid? And
Yeah, I thought the Igor type kid was gonna be like the villain with his. I thought the invisible fish was gonna become a bigger thing.
Well,
oh
I
yeah,
think,
yeah.
yeah, the invisible fish was like sort of foreshadowing because it was showing everyone that when you bring them back, they don't always come back the same way. And so
Pet
that's why,
symmetry.
yeah, like Pet Cemetery. So
But
there
the
was a
poor
lot of
Igor kid, though.
messages. Oh, fuck
So
that kid. That little ugly kid with the little cookie.
No,
May
see,
I
that's
have
just a,
your cookie,
oh,
Mrs.
stop.
No, you get your ass out of my house, your fucking cookie. Goodbye. I don't
Here's the
trust
problem:
you.
is that's the most problematic character of the whole movie. Was he so wanted to be liked that he was willing to do all these things to be
He,
liked by other kids that didn't deserve to be liked by him.
he didn't want to be liked. He wanted to win the fucking science fair. They all want to win the science fair so
Oh.
much that the little Asian boy shoved Chunk off the roof just so he could win the science fair.
Yeah, can we talk about how the other kids were really shitty?
Yes,
Like, holy shit.
like they were all horrible. I
Like,
mean,
I've
I don't
never
even
seen
know how to
science
get
kids
above
be
that.
such dicks before. Like, it was kind of like a weird
hello,
moment.
Halloween ends. The band geeks are the bully. Obviously, they
They
took a
stole
note.
that from
Yeah.
Frankenweenie, those bastards. David Gordon Green, I see you.
Did they
Anyway.
ever talk about why the other pets became bad and Frankenweenie didn't? But also, well, Sparky didn't. But I think didn't the little hamster, mummy hamster, wasn't he good too?
Well, here's
I
the thing about that is, oh, sorry. I was gonna say it was, the funny part was it was great because they did all the homages to all the classic Universal monsters,
Yes. So
which is
I
rad.
think that was absolutely, Lance, I agree with you. I think that was part of it, but I also think that part of it was a reflection of the children's character.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, except the weird Godzilla
No.
moment.
No, 'cause
Gamera.
the little the little Asian boy wanted to be the biggest thing, and he got what he
Yeah.
wanted, right?
A little racist though.
It was a
You're really
little
breaking it down.
racist. I don't know.
It was a
Like,
little what is it called? It
A
was a
little.
what's it called when you draw them and display them a little over exaggerated, where you're like, I don't think that's okay.
I don't know. Yeah, and then the way his little.
like the prequels to Star Wars.
Yeah, like
I don't know.
I forgot what it's called. Caricature. They drew him as a caricature.
Yeah, caricature
Yeah.
of an Asian character.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. So there was that, but then also, and I say this for all of them because all of the animals kind of reflected their personalities because he wanted to be the biggest one. The little chubby boy wanted like everything, right? And then and that's why the little sea monkeys were all over the fucking place.
That was
And
the best
then
though. The sea monkeys.
the little Igor kid, his was invisible because nobody pays attention to him. So it was like it was a reflection of each of the kids. And the other reason why I think the weird girls, obviously the weird girl's cat had to become something ridiculous because it like melted with, remember it was eating the bat
Yeah.
and then it blew up. So it like
I mean, here's the thing: is if it was so like able to see
it
the
was a
future,
fat
why didn't
cat.
see that?
I just don't know why
out.
everyone's coming for Mr. Whiskers, and it really isn't his fault.
It's not Mr. Whisker's fault. I know.
He literally was just a cat to a weird girl, and then he turns into a monster and they kill him.
He was just
He
living
didn't
his
do
best
anything.
life. That little bitch put the kite on the dead bat. First of all, they're bringing back these animals though at the same time that are absolutely disgusting. Like They
Oh,
were
they're like long time dead.
and they have been long time dead. So I think that has something to do
But they
with it.
also had a love for their animals too, though. You know what I mean? Like that's what
Yeah.
I think is what Mike brought up is why did they come out bad? I mean, because obviously they all loved their animal.
Oh,
You know what I mean? Hence why they went to go get them
when Shelley stepped on the
from the pet
hamster.
cemetery.
The hamster was so
this is-
cute. The little
I
mini
know,
hamster.
it's a
Stepped
little
on it real
funny.
quick.
Oh,
was
bless
great.
his heart. He got stomped and he was like, just go get him. Like, why would you send him out there to
Kill
try
him.
to get?
Was Shelly supposed to be the monster from the Black Lagoon or Godzilla?
No, that was
Or
the sea
Gamera.
monkeys. Sea monkeys were the Black
Oh,
Lagoon.
okay.
Black Lagoon.
Because they remember
I
they came
guess
out of
he
the
was-
water.
Yeah, so I guess he was
Or
supposed
the
to be
pool.
Godzilla then.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
Okay, because I was
where
like,
did that come from? It was like because
yeah,
the
it's not
cat with the
universal,
bat
but okay.
is the vampire, and when they had the fighting scene, that's actually from Count Dracula and Frankenstein when they fight in the fire. So it's
Yeah.
like
Well, it's
homages all
also
over the place.
the original Frankenstein ended in the windmill, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
instead of because in Frankenstein, spoiler alert for like 100-year-old movie, when he accidentally kills a little girl, they blame Sparky for killing what did he?
For killing Winona Ryder's character was what was her name? Elsa.
Yeah, but she wasn't
Yeah.
dead. I don't know why they thought that. So
Yeah,
Well,
so
in the-
they well,
Oh, sorry.
and it is, and in the film, and this is what there's a big differentiation between the actual Frankenstein and his monster of Mary Shelley versus the film adaptation, because the film adaptation makes the monster out to be like this, like grown child that doesn't really understand what they're doing, and he drowns, he kills a little girl by accident. He doesn't mean to. And Mary
Threw her in the water.
Shelley's, because she's
What do you mean you
throwing the
can't breathe in the water?
flowers.
Yeah.
She's throwing the flowers, and I still kind of feel like it's a really great homage to Mary Shelley's adaptation of Frankenstein. I'm going to delve deeply into this, but when you analyze all of this, it is not the monster's fault for not knowing how to behave, because Victor never teaches him how to
Yeah.
behave. Victor creates him, and then Victor leaves him. And so it's the same thing sort of in Frankenweenie and a bit, because Victor keeps having to go to school, and Sparky doesn't know how to behave. He's still behaving the way he used to, but it's not the same anymore. And he can't be
Yeah.
seen anymore. And like you see him just running around, and it's a very adorable child's adaptation of the same story. But in the real story, it's actually very heartbreaking, because one, Victor's monster only knows Victor as his father, and he's abandoned. He doesn't know how to behave, and then he's shunned and scorned by all the people who see him, and he just doesn't get it. And it's the
Yeah.
same thing in the 1939 film, where he throws the girl in the water because he's trying to play with her, because she's throwing the flowers in the water and the flowers are floating, and then he throws her because he thinks that she's going to float, and she actually drowns. And it's just really, it's heartbreaking, because nobody is showing, and it's literally always the same adaptation, where the creator, aka the parent, doesn't show or treat their creation, aka their child, as a person, and actually show them how to be a human being. And that's why we have all these
no time for
scumbags.
children.
Yes, that's why all these scumbags in the world, and here we are. Anyways, sorry, I just went on my soapbox. Moving on along, Corpse Bride.
Corpse Bride, which is older than Frankenweenie. I can't
Well,
believe this one's as old as it is.
Yeah, I thought that we would do Frankenweenie first, because a lot of people, which is why I have behind me, I have Victor and Sparky behind me, and then I have Victor and Scraps behind me, because a lot of people always say that they're all the same movie, and one can argue that Jack Skellington is actually Victor Frankenstein turning into Victor Van Dort, turning into Jack Skellington when he dies, and Scraps is Sparky, or I'm sorry, Zero is Sparky, Scraps, and Zero.
And Chips.
Scraps, not Chips.
We're not talking about Friday the 3rd or whatever that movie's called, Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yes. Well, okay, but fun fact, Zero's grave can be found in the cemetery.
Oh, did you finally
and
find it?
I did find it, yes, and I was excited. So you
I
guys all
wasn't
have to
that
look at it.
motivated, but I was looking and I was like, I can't read that shit. So I just
Well, it's the same one that when when Jack
Mikey's
goes,
like, no pausing.
when Jack walks by, Zero's grave and he claps for him. It's the same grave that's in and Frankenweenie. So
You know,
did
it's
it
actually
say
funny in
zero on it?
the live action version of the windmill is literally at a miniature golf course.
Are you talking about for the short?
Yeah, for the short, it's actually at a
Oh.
miniature golf course.
oh yeah, you
And some
watched
guy
the short. So how was the short
yeah.
before we move
The,
on?
the short like has little here and there pieces of the movie, like it's like the difference is Sparky dies in front of their house instead of the weird scenario where there's a hole in the baseball field's back gate, which would never be a thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of crazy. And the fact that the dad's actually played by one of the criminals from Home Alone. So it's kind
Daniel
of funny.
Stern.
Yeah, Daniel Stern, which is funny because the fact that O'Hara did a movie with him, but yet they didn't do anything together, but they were in the same movie technically. So
Yeah.
but yeah, but it was funny because it was just funny because like seeing the little kid run into the like little miniature windmill and then it gets set on fire by some guy who trips. That's basically how it gets set on fire.
Oh, Lance.
It's ironically funny.
What
but
a
it's like,
review of the live action comedy.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's good for what
Um,
it is.
Well, I mean, it was his first thing, right? So
Yeah.
but moving on to Corpse Bride, I think Corpse Bride's a little bit more. I mean, Mike, you've seen Corpse Bride, right?
This was my first time.
So you never watched that before. So you really hate Tim Burton. I'm so sorry.
I don't hate Tim Burton. I just don't have the vernacular to go out and watch these movies.
Well, you should put your vernacular Sweeney Todd because you're doing that with me too.
Oh no,
Dragging
this
me
is the
along.
last episode of October. So
Not
The
because
last
the
Tim Burton.
Monday. No, because this comes out Monday, which is the 23rd. We have one
I
more.
know,
which
I'm
is
just
Sweeney
yanking
Todd.
your chain.
Chain.
So what I feel, if you want to do all the hullabaloo first before we get into it. The Corpse Bride 2003 by Tim Burton stars Johnny Depp and Elsa Van Carter, whatever her name is, his wife, ex-wife, whatever, love interest.
Helena Bonham Carter.
Yes, Helena Bonham Carter. Helena Bonham Cartier plays the Corpse Bride. Everyone else is not necessary. I think what I realized watching this, so Frankenweenie, I enjoyed more. I was like, it's a good movie. I don't know if I would watch it again. Talking to you guys actually made me appreciate it a lot more because I was like, okay, it is pretty not balanced, but it is pretty clever the way they incorporated so many of the old Hollywood monsters involved. Corpse Bride, I don't appreciate the musical numbers. I don't think they were needed and they weren't good. Like even with Nightmare Before Christmas, Nightmare on Elm Street. Even with Nightmare Before Christmas, I don't like musicals, but those songs are catchy. I can be like, With this, I had no songs that were going to stick with me. They were all kind of, they were very mid. And so I feel Corpse Bride suffers from being targeted towards children. I think if it was targeted more for adults, it would have been better. Because it's an adult story. Kids aren't going to care about this woman who was murdered.
I can't think of any song from this movie, honestly. Like, I mean, I like this movie, but like, you're right. I mean, none of the songs really like go, oh yeah, I remember that song.
Yeah, and so my thing is just cut the songs. If you don't remember them, then there's no need for them.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean, maybe because it's Disney, they have to do it, kind of deal.
No, so Corpse Bride is not Disney, and that's the issue.
Yeah, Lance.
But with Corpse Bride, I will say that I love the Corpse Bride, the little lullaby, the lullaby.
Oh. Once upon a December.
But you're talking about like one song out of the whole thing now.
Like that's
Is there
so
words
pretty.
to that song?
No, it's the beginning, and then Victor plays it.
Okay, then that's the score. That's the score. That's not the song. We're talking about the musical.
There
numbers.
are, because a lot of the musical numbers, like this is in true fashion, which is why I love a lot of people love Corpse Bride. I didn't like Corpse Bride when I first saw it, and we'll talk about that for a minute. But And I saw it back in the day, 2005. I was 17 when I saw this movie, and I went to the movie theater because I love A Nightmare Before Christmas, and I thought that's what I was going to be seeing. So if you think you're going to see A Nightmare Before Christmas when you watch Corpse Bride, that's absolutely not true. However, like it plays like a musical in the sense that a lot of the songs sort of drive the plot,
the story forward.
yeah, and that's really what they're there for. I love the beginning because I think it's hilarious. Like if you're actually listening to the beginning with both parents talking shit, like the song, both of the parents are trying to decide the fates of their children to marry each other, and they're just talking shit the entire time. So when you start and like listen to the lyrics and you actually appreciate the film for what it is, you actually enjoy it more. The more times I watch Corpse Bride, the more I love it. It's just, I don't know what it is. And one of the reasons I love it is because it's just so like, I don't know, like, I think it's really heartbreaking. Like, it's one of those, it's sort of like Frankenweenie in the sense that like, it's heartbreaking for Victor and Victoria because they're being forced into a marriage. They don't even know each other. They have to marry each other because Victoria's family is destitute, and then she's got to marry the nouveau riche, and it's like a whole thing, right? Because
I mean,
Victor's,
nothing like being married into slavery, basically.
well, Victor's family, they're white trash that made money, right? Like they won the lottery. Now we got to marry our daughter off, or we're gonna be fucking poor, and that's basically what it is, right? And then,
I mean, that's the only reason why he's kosherly kind of okay, because like he's come from poor stock.
yeah, they're the nouveau riche. Like nobody likes new money. It's like, oh, people frown upon people with new money, right?
They
Like,
fell in love, Lance. That's all that matters.
Did they though?
so Victor and
According to
Victoria,
the IMDb synopsis.
yeah, Victor plays the little lullaby I was just horribly singing to you all, and Victoria comes down and she's like, oh, I actually can be with this guy. But unfortunately, Victor can't remember his vows. He sets his mother-in-law's dress on fire. There's a
Says
whole
every man.
hullabaloo. Exactly. Like he fucks everything up as every man does, and then he runs off to the woods to try and fix it. And that's when he's trying to remember his vows. He sticks his ring on a branch that happens to be
The hand of the woman.
the
Who's
corpse bride's hand, like decrepit, desiccated hand sticking out of the ground. And she thinks that he's married her. And so all of the hijinks ensue from that. And she, as a wedding gift, Emily gifts Victor a box with a bunch of bones, which happens to be scraps, which is why everyone thinks that Victor
AKA
and
Chips.
Jack and chips and Cheetos and all of those
Chips
dogs,
and dip.
chips and
Love
dips
dip.
and guacamole,
Love
all
dip.
of them. They're all the same thing. So, yeah, I get it, which obviously it sounds about right because Tim Burton recycles everybody. He doesn't just recycle characters; he recycles all of his actors as well. So,
That's really cool, though. I still think that's really cool. That so like the same thing with Adam Sandler. I mean, people give him a lot of shit, but like when you can work with somebody and you get the same kind of good results from something, it's kind of good that you kind of keep with people like that. I mean, it's good to like still branch out a little bit, but I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's good to have that.
Yeah, I think it's important. And also like Mike Flanagan. I think he does
who uses his wife and everything.
Yeah, but she's a lot better than Sherry Moon.
Oh
So I
my
don't care.
god, she's
Goddamn
amazing,
right.
So yeah, it's talented, so that's fine.
No, I love her.
Yeah, no, but I think Mike Flanagan does it the best because his newest thing, House of Usher, whereas his wife is usually like a really main role. It's like he got everyone who used to have main roles and switched them to where like they're not so big, and the people that you don't recognize but have done stuff for him are now in the bigger
rad.
roles. And by the way, watch it if you haven't seen it because it's amazing.
Yeah.
So I really like that because I was like, oh, okay, cool. It's still the same people, but the people that usually have smaller parts now have bigger parts, and people that have bigger parts now have smaller parts. So
yeah,
it's cool.
Also, why you like character actors too. I mean, it's like that's what I mean because they have more room to really blossom in some spots. So it's kind of rad to see them actually get a main role.
Yeah, I also can't help but see Angelina Jolie when I see Kate Siegel. But
I know. I was thinking the same thing. Yeah.
Like it's mean. I'm not gonna say it.
You already said it in a different episode. It's okay.
A healthy version.
I was going to say, I was like, yep.
Yeah. But I just think so. Corpse Bride, Frankenweenie, it was black and white, but it works. Those contrasting colors, it's still vivid, even though it's black and white. Nightmare Before Christmas is very colorful, very vivid with colors. Corpse Bride is like a weird, nothing's really vivid except for the Corpse Bride. Everything else is very drab, like the DMV walls. And so I found that kind of annoying. I was like, this isn't nice to look at. The Corpse Bride was actually nice to look at, but she's not in it all the time. But I just think that this isn't a story that kids are going to care about. It's a good story and it's interesting, because you propose to a dead corpse instead of a person you're supposed to marry.
It is based off of a Jewish folktale as well, so it's not like he made the story up.
I did read that, but I was circumcised as a baby, so it didn't apply to me. And so back to circumcision. Oh, you were circumcised as a baby as well? Good. But I just feel like with this subject matter, and it is a heavy story, and then you find out what happened to her, you find out even the ending, it's all very heavy, but because it's downplayed, because it's a children's movie, it would have been better if they were just like, fuck kids, PG-13, amp up the excitement and the, not even necessarily gore, but just like, we want to see these people rip apart this specific bad guy that I haven't mentioned for the fear of spoilers.
Well, it's interesting because Andy and I was talking about this earlier. It reminds me of a music video from Avenged Sevenfold, A Little Piece of Heaven, where at the end, like, they're zombies and they're in love, but they're going to get married, and then they eat everybody's brains in the church. And it just kind of reminded me of that. I don't know if that came before or after. That movie came out, no, that video came out in 2008. When did Corpse Bride come out?
2005.
2005.
So they copied.
Yeah.
Even though no one's brains were getting eaten.
No. But it's the same premise. So I thought it was like, it's a lot of fun. Honestly, I think that you have to give Corpse Bride a few watches before you can really appreciate it. Like, if you just watch it once, you're like, oh, what the fuck am I watching? But you actually have to pay attention, listen, and enjoy it. And I will defend
Lance.
Corpse Bride. Yes, Lance. Exactly. So before, like, Danny Elfman, all of his scores are amazing. The songs. And I just think that a lot of...
maybe not this one, but
Ooh. I also wanted a good for her moment. I'm all about a good revenge, especially when it comes from a woman who's been wrong.
Moment with him at the end.
No, she didn't.
He drank the wine.
Yeah, but I want her to kill him.
Well, I think that the problem with her, was that she had repressed it. She didn't realize it until she saw him. And then she knew what he did to her. And I think, and in both films, like, how heartbreaking is that her whole life was stolen from her.
Yeah. But she's not a dog, so I didn't cry.
Yeah. But she loved him. She put all of her faith in him. And he took everything from her, including her life, so he could have her money. And then when he ran out of it, he tried to go and take it from Victoria. But stupid him, he thought the family had money, and they didn't. So there's a lot of good cheese made there with that. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's also why she... Oh, sorry. Go on.
I just thought they were going to end up in a throuple at the end.
Of course you did.
And also, I think it was like a thing where Victor was kind of married to Emily, and then Victoria was sort of married to Barkis, and then Barkis dies, and then Emily turns into butterflies, because finally her soul's able to be at peace, which I thought was...
Because the man finally loved her.
No,
that's cool, Tim.
She was finally able to be...
Of course. Because he's that guy.
She found good dick, so now she can flutter away.
Okay, Mikey. So where can we find our coffee cans and dental dams?
But we haven't wrapped up the episode. Final thoughts on Corpse Bride. I want to find dick that turns me into a spirit of butterflies.
Mikey's like, set me free.
Yeah. Hallelujah.
Mm.
It's a very sweet movie. She was freed. Her unfinished business was finished.
I mean, she was the better of the scenarios, because it was like, even though she could have married Vincent, it was one of those things where she saw the other woman kind of deal, which was kind of a cool moment, because it was
Victor.
yes. But
What
you know what I
did
mean?
you
Like,
say?
it was like, I said Vincent.
Like, he doesn't, like, I swear to God, you make up your own freaking words sometimes. Okay.
Oh,
Oh, Lance.
so Chip doesn't count in this situation.
Chips is the dog, Lance.
I know, but Mikey does that purposefully. You don't know when you're doing it. There's
Yeah,
a
Lance.
difference.
Pay
Either
attention.
way, I thought it was cool for her to like kind of, because she definitely stuck the higher ground on several different occasions. Like, she could have married him, and she decided to give like that moment up, and then she could have like been the one that like really took advantage of killing the main guy, who was a piece of shit, and she decided to step away and allow something else to happen, like allow him to walk away, and he was such a dick that he ended up killing himself basically. So
Did
it's
she
kind of
know
cool.
that was poison?
Yeah, she put it in there. That's how they were going to be together.
Oh, that's
he
why she
had-
was cool. She was like, okay, do it.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
Victor was going
exactly.
to drink it and die and be with her. And that was the
Okay.
thing too, which everyone was like so upset over, but I'm like, it makes sense. He was just going to marry Victoria. He didn't know Victoria either. So
Yeah.
why would he not marry Emily? And then I think he really had feelings for Emily. Like, he starts to realize like she kind of knows him. Like, she brings him scraps. She wants to meet his parents. She actually is very she's a catch if she wasn't dead and had a maggot behind her eye, but I digress. Anyways,
I thought she was pretty. She's the most pretty, even though she was the dead one. She was the prettiest character in the movie.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Did this give anybody else like Dia de los Muertos vibes? Because I kind of got Dia, even though I know Tim Burton probably has no interest in
He
Mexican
would
culture.
never. No,
I know.
of course not.
It's like, well, I don't know. Now that he's working with Jenna Ortega, he might. But as three Latinas on a podcast here, I was like, I can kind of see, like, she looks kind of like a Katrina.
She does, and you're right. You're
Yeah.
right. Especially when the families come back and they're able to see each other. So it's like they're looking at the pictures and they have to and everybody like comes alive again.
Yeah.
Right. And so I love that concept. And I think that that's really, because I watched Coco and I cry in Coco. Oh my God.
Oh God.
Anyway,
Me too.
I know. Don't watch Coco with me. I'll die. But like, I mean, I just feel like it's just so, it is a beautiful, and both films talk about death in a way that I think it teaches children to realize that yes, it will happen to you, but don't be afraid.
Yeah, there's
Right?
actually a movement called, I think it sounds stupid, but I think it's death positivity.
Well, it's not even that, but it's like you don't even need religion in either of these films to comfort you. Because I think a lot of people turn to religion because they're so worried about what happens when you die. And who the fuck knows what's going to happen? I don't care about
The people that have died.
No, I don't care about your religion. Like, you believe the fuck you want to believe, but we don't know what the fuck's going to happen until we actually die. So you don't get to fucking tell me what's correct and what isn't, because you don't know. And that's the thing. It's like, I think these films kind of just the best way to sort of deliver the message of the fact that we're the most beautiful thing that all of us share, the three of us share right now, is that we're all the same, because then one day we'll all die, right? And that's what makes, yes, that's true. But that's what makes death that's what makes death beautiful in a way, is that it is literally what all of us share. I mean, no, I'm not going to die, of course not. But if
my beauty will live on forever.
If I did. So I think that that's one of the things that Tim Burton always touches on. I always feel like it's perfect for Halloween, perfect for the month of October. So anyways, are we done?
I guess Lance has been texting someone this whole time and my phone's not going off. So
I don't know. Lance has got a date apparently. So we'll just move on along. Okay. So with that, Mikey, where can we get your coffee cans and your dental dams and your cock rings and all this?
If you would like to purchase anything branded slashers from coffee cans to dental dams, you can find us at Redbubble on redbubble.com/slasherspod. If you'd like to support us monetarily, you can find us at patreon.com/slasherspod, where we sometimes release monthly exclusive videos.
We literally had a whole conversation about that. We do not do that.
No, we do. We're falling behind.
We're a little behind. Things have been busy, but we're gonna do it this month.
Everybody's busy. Yes. Okay, we'll get that
Yes.
done.
But we do love y'all. Thank you so much.
Oh my
Support
God.
us.
Yeah. To all of our Patreon members, like, you guys mean the world to us, because I think you're literally the only people who listen to us anyway. So thank you very much.
Yes. If you want to follow us on Instagram, you can follow us at Mutant Goods from Beyond. You can follow Aid at Pathologically Aid. Follow me at Horror and a Half Shell, or you can follow Lance at Zombie versus Hate. Someone also got a TikTok recently, but hasn't posted anything yet. We're also available on Facebook.
No, I made him do it because when he posts his videos, he's gonna post.
Yeah, Lance.
Yeah.
Yep.
Gonna
So
do
sorry for you trying to teach him how to do that.
I had to teach Grandpa how to do that. We're good. I think we're good now.
Facebook groups, Mutant Goons from Beyond. Let us know. If you went in our Discord, join Patreon, let us know, because Jake popped up like an old herpes sore. But a good one. We love Jake.
Yeah. Well, it's our 13 days of Halloween. So you know what? If y'all really miss Jake and you want him back, you have to be more vocal, because I think he wants people to tell him that he's wanted here.
Because
it seems slow like clap.
You know how in Jurassic Park when the T-Rex comes, you can see the water kind of jiggle. I think Jake's coming because I see a little bit of the water trickling, and not just on my vagina, if you know what I mean.
I know, we miss him so much. So hopefully that happens. I'm actually excited about that.
Me too. Daddy's back.
Daddy. I know.
Anyways, goodbye, good day.
Oh. Anyways, goodbye. Yes. You assholes. On behalf of Mikey, Lance, and myself, goodbye and goodbye.
Take us home, Adrian.
Sing the song one more time.
Once upon a time.
Listen, I sang Selena at karaoke last weekend. Don't you fuck with me.
Ugh, that poor audience.
I know. Everybody lost their card.
Como la caca. Their green card?
Cool story, bro.
No, stop.